Welcome back to the Bourbon Note, everybody. I'm Ben. Got a 12-year bourbon on the bar. Let's get into it. All right, so we got a new one on the bar today. This is BAM 1792 12-year. So this one I finally ran into in the wild. I've been kind of on the lookout for these harder to find 1792 products for a couple years now. And you know, in Minnesota, we were always able to get kind of the basic four, which is like the bottled and bond, the single barrel, the small batch, and the full proof. Anything beyond that was just never around in Minnesota. And then recently I scored a bottle of the sweet wheat at MSRP. I did pay about 25 bucks over for this one, so it's usually about $55. I paid 80 for it. That's about as high as I'll go, but I figured, you know, I guess if I could find it for 60 bucks online, would I pay a $20 shipping fee? Probably. So I decided to just go ahead and get it. Treat myself, I guess. I don't like spending secondary prices. I certainly don't consider maybe 25 bucks over retail to be secondary prices. But again, that's about as far over as I'll go. Never had this one before. I am a fan of 1792 products in general. I think the small batch is definitely one of the better kind of around $30 bottles you can get, especially at the sub 95 proof point. So I'm looking forward to getting into this one. On the nose, I think, so what's the proof on this? Did I say yet? 96.6 proof. On the nose, there is a ton of flavor jumping out of the glass. Flavor-wise, this doesn't come across as a 96.6 proof. It definitely, well, smell-wise, comes across a little more bold than that, but it doesn't have the ethanol kick that would come with something a little higher proof. So a nice balance on the nose, deep and rich. A lot of oak, which you would expect on a 12-year. Oak, brown sugar. It's a little dry and tannic on the nose, but it's nice. It's fairly basic so far, but it's good at what it does. So if the nose is any indication on what the palate's gonna be like, I'm definitely intrigued. So let's find out. Cheers. That is really, really nice. That has a ton of flavor. The nose pretty much transfers to the palate on this one, but it's just very, very rich. It has a really nice bite to it. It drinks above its proof point, which is good because the 96.6 that it is, I'm totally fine with that proof point, to be honest, but I tend to like things around 100 proof and maybe a little bit above. There's plenty of sub 100 proof bottles that are good, but there's also plenty that kind of fall a little flat. I think the 1792 sweet wheat at the lower 90s proof, that one fell a little bit flat. This one on that first sip was really bold, but it really has that good, there's a nice oak and sweetness to it. It's oak, it's brown sugar. Interestingly enough, not a ton of caramel coming through, to be honest. It's more of like a dark, sort of maybe like molasses sort of note. Let's get into another sip here because I gotta examine this further. That is at the MSRP around $55. I would 100% keep a bottle of this on the shelf. I think that's excellent, actually. I'm pretty surprised. I have heard some decent things about this bottle, but you never know what you're gonna get when you're kind of chasing after one of those ones that you've really wanted for a couple of years. And this one is not disappointing, even after paying the $25 extra for it. I don't regret doing that. Would I do it again? I don't know, maybe, but I definitely would say that at its normal price of around the $50 or $55, 100% worth it. That's just really, really nice. It's got a great mouthfeel to it. Again, it drinks above its proof point in flavor, which is something that I always like to see in a bourbon. It's actually got a little bit of a nutty vibe going on to it as well. I think on that second sip, there was some more flavors that kind of showed up, but it seems to kind of play in this one category. It's not like all over the place. There's a few different flavors. They're all great, and it's just, they blend well together. It's not trying to do a whole bunch of different things. It's not, 50 different flavor notes. It's just got those few down the middle, the oak, the brown sugar, a little bit of that nuttiness, and it's just kind of got like an overall sweet vibe that kind of goes with that tannic note from the oak, and it just meshes perfectly. Let's get one more sip before we get out of here. Cheers. Black pepper on that last one. That's the note I was trying to figure out that I wasn't quite able to put my finger on. There's a nice spice to it, and it's like a black pepper spice sort of heat. So it's really kind of sharp and tannic up front, but not in a bad way. It's kind of sweet on the mid palate, and then on the finish, it's got that nice wave of spice and black pepper. This is great. I'm loving this more with every sip I take. It's awesome when you find one of these bottles after looking for so long for it, and it doesn't let you down. And again, the reason I was looking for this for so long, it's not like I was hunting it or chasing it or certainly ever willing to pay secondary for it, but I am a big fan of the 1792 products. And I knew that these kind of, like the sweet wheat, the 12-year, I think there's maybe like a port finish or something like that. I knew those ones existed, and I was probably never going to get my hands on one, or at least, not anytime soon. But just since I like that core group of bourbons from them so much, I was really, really looking forward to hopefully trying one of these someday. So I'm super happy to have this on the shelf. I would definitely recommend this one. It drinks like a premium bourbon in the sense that it comes across, you really get the age on this one. I think I've said on this channel before, Greg and I used to say this all the time, when a bourbon's got one of two things, proof or age, it can really help it. If it's a lower proof bourbon, sometimes age can help bring out some more flavors. If it's a lower age bourbon, sometimes the proof can help because you're not watering down what flavors it does have from the aging. This one walks that balance perfectly. It's under 100 proof, but I mean, it's 96 and some change. But it's by no means a high proof bourbon, but it has all the flavors and sort of, I want to say complexity, but it's got depth. I don't know if I would say it has a ton of complexity because I'm getting a few basic notes, but the notes that are there are deep and rich, and it just resulted in a great bourbon overall. So, yep, I would 100% recommend this. I think you would maybe have to decide on the price point that you'd be willing to pay for it. I might pay the $25 over for another bottle of this, for sure, because I definitely want to pack up of this now. So anyway, well, hey folks, thank you very, very much for watching. This has been 1792, aged 12 years on the Bourbon Note. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.